Hello, guys. Welcome to what I'll call episode 2 of my Blooming series. In this one, we're just going to be going back into the actual creating process. So, the funny thing is, while I was stumbling on my previous records of what I created in the past, I realized that I created a lot of things which I never really actually shared with the world. One of them is this paintings that I'm bringing back into life and recreating this time around as I share just my journey and my story of getting back into art. I believe this whole journey of creating lately has been something that's really resulting in a lot of blooming in my personal life, and I'm gonna go and share a lot more about it in this video. I hope you enjoy listening in, and I hope this gives you something to think about. Navigating the Seasons with Sylvain Jacquet. Society has really taught us to be out of tune with the seasonality of life, and my biggest change in the last 3 years has been being very alert to the change of seasons and being aware of the season to plant, the season to take a step back, the season to renew my strength, the season to grow, the season to harvest. I think this is very important when creating your goals or when pushing yourself to get into alignment with the things that the world wants to bring to us. It's also very important to be very alert to where our energy blocks are coming in. For my personal story, when I was going and pushing myself to get back into working on my Skillshare classes and these videos on YouTube, it took a very long time, honestly, between thought, ideation, implementation, it coming out, the editing process, and it actually being shared into the world. I remember praying about it, thinking about how I felt like I had a block in my gut because I had the ideas, but they couldn't come out. And then I had a voice block where I couldn't really word or get out of my own way, and then traversing to I have already created the content, but there's a block in my hand, or a block because I don't want to edit the videos in as much as I am very skilled at it, to finally having edited the video fully, but having a block of it not being perfect enough to upload on YouTube and share it into the world. And navigating each and every part of these steps is so important and comes across in so many different scopes. I think for me, the biggest change that I made 2 years ago was starting to plan my year around March. In the African system, it's around the time when planting happens. I've been reading a lot about the lines in between Christianity and spirituality in the last year, and I'm honestly loving every bit of it. Learning about quantum physics and also bringing it into an interplay as a Christian is just a whole new world that I never thought that I would be exploring in truth. But it gives me so much more confidence as I navigate the world and understand when to push, when to take some ease, when to take a step back, when to rest, when to fully rest and be fully detached, and when to come back in and what level of energy to come back with, what level of gentleness, what level of resilience, when to introduce new habits, when to just take it slow, and when to go all in with everything. And that's actually sustained me outperforming myself in terms of my goals for the year. And while I don't really set goals for the whole year per se, I remember 2 years ago I went back into the gym When I say 2 years ago, it sounds so long ago, but that was actually just in 2023. And I remember being a bit going to the gym to just gain my sanity back, because I felt like that was the main thing that I could keep consistent in my life, as I figured out a lot of changes that were happening in the season. And I remember showing up each week and keeping my bare minimum as 2 days. It's now like 2 years later, and still, I had an 8-month period, or 7 to 8 months, I'm not going to the gym after an injury. I have still maintained the 2 days and have been consistent with something that I started off with doing like 3 days and realizing, you know what, let's do something that's unorthodox. Let's commit to 2 days, and managing to do it over 2 years. It's so legendary how when we create personal goals or create ambitions that are really our heart goals, or like aligned to things that make sense in our lives, and like the interplay that is realistic, honest, does not bring in so much of the external feedback. You'd find that so many people in the gym used to go to the gym like 5 times, and I'd always be told, how come I'm not coming as much? But I managed to maintain my gains for that whole period, and also transitioning like between jobs, and do just fine and keep it just consistent along the process. And I think the most important thing I learned over that whole journey is the need to be in tune with the season of life you're in, and also being brutally honest with yourself while being the most gentle with yourself. So it's such a amazing balance to be brutally honest but also gentle. But I lean on the side of being very gentle lately, because I think I tend to be ruthless, like with how much pressure I can give myself. So on some things, like in most things, I actually try make sure that I am increasing the level of gentleness and pressure that I put on myself as I navigate this whole journey. And that's made like things so much easier. Like even in planning my weeks, I know exactly what I want to work on for the week and why it's important and what it's alluding to in my mental idea of where I want the year to go and the next 2 years of my life to go. But do I generally have like a full plan for the next 5 years or the full year? No, I don't. I just think it's most important to really just adapt. Like you may have like a goal. Say for instance, for me, I intended to keep consistent at the gym for the last year, but when I sprained my leg, I couldn't go to the gym for like 4 to 6 months. I didn't really go for like 6 months and started working out back at home for like the 7th month. And yes, I did regress in my gym progress, but I was just like, maybe that's the season for life for me to rest as I adjust and know what's gonna come in life next. And I think being in tune with those things is so important, because it keeps us grounded and ensures that we're not like starting ourselves in a journey of life that's supposed to be very long. And we're also taking charge of veering ourselves in the direction that life is pushing us or inclining us towards. And that's the most important thing. Like I think it's important when considering like planning your year or planning your goals or implementing them also, because as you implement them with gentleness, then you know that they need to really be very realistic and comfortable. I think actually we need to think about that, making goals comfortable. Like, right? Like, do I really need to wake up at 4 a.m. daily? No. Is it comfortable for me to wake up and work till a bit late? Maybe it makes more sense in a certain season of my life. Or do I want to prioritize working a lot in the morning and being done by 11 a.m.? yeah, and moving on to that. And I think everything, when it has like a little bit of flow and balance, we make ourselves more inclined to succeed because we keep adjusting to what's gonna be relevant for the season. So like if you're pushing yourself to attain something, when you attain it, then you move on to something else while maintaining it so that you can add on new goals to it. Yeah, so that's my full thought on that whole subject. Yes, I hope you have enjoyed watching the video and listening to me ramble. Bye.